Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Magically Cruising, the cruise podcast where we share our personal cruise tips and reviews to help you make the most out of your next sailing. My name's Kieran. I'm an independent travel agent specializing in all things cruise, Disney, and North America, and I'm joined by my fellow co-host.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I cruise and blog over at Cruising with Kids, and we also, and you can also find us over on YouTube.
Brilliant. And today, Sarah, we've recently talked about the amplification of Allure of the Seas because you were obviously amongst the first to get on board her. And as if by magic, by the time we kind of processed that episode and got that episode out, Royal have graced us with not just one, not just two, but three new amplifications coming for 2026. So what we thought we'd do today is have a bit of a chat about these amplifications because two of them are actually very close to home, which is quite exciting for obviously us over this side of the coast. But then obviously for our American listeners, if you are interested in sailing in Europe, there's some new exciting things to look forward to in 2026, isn't there?
Yeah, and I love this. I love that now that they're starting to really heavily invest in the older ships as well, that we're getting them before they go back. And obviously there's that's a business decision because of where they're amplified, but still it's just great to have that to look forward to.
Well, pre-COVID, wasn't it? Before COVID, they had like a whole slate. Both Royal and Celebrity had a really aggressive slate of kind of amplifications and what do they call it? I can never say the word revolutionization on Celebrity. Which interestingly, actually, we should probably touch upon that one as well because Celebrity Solstice is also going through a really, really cool revolutionization as well. So she's getting like completely refreshed, which I think is quite exciting as well to kind of see one of the older Celebrity ships as well get kind of a really big facelift, and they're going for this really modern branding as well. So it kind of during COVID it all stopped and they kind of cancelled a load of these amplification projects and kind of celebrity updates. I can't say the word, people at home. The marketing people can come for me. I can't say their word. But they were doing a really aggressive slate of these updates, and some of the ships started them and some of them got them delayed. And kind of in that weird post-COVID period, some ships had minor updates where they were just more maintenance and refreshes. But I think we're now back onto that original slate of massive amplifications to kind of Royal and Celebrity's fleet now. So it's really exciting to see this. And I think it's nice, as you say, to kind of see old ships get a new lease of life and some new updates.
Yeah, and I mean, getting on, obviously we hadn't sailed on Allure before, but we'd just been on Oasis. Now I've talked about this before. We've tried several times over the years to sail on Allure, and for whatever reason, it was third time lucky when we went on. And I was blown away by how refreshed it was. It was amazing, and she looked incredible. And all right, they didn't do the cabins, which was a disappointment, but everything else and that's all the new stuff that they added, the stuff they took away, it worked so well. So to be doing that with all the ships is really exciting. To add the stuff that everybody's buzzing about.
Yeah. And I would say Royal as well. Like, even in the time I've been working as an agent and working with Royal Caribbean, like the Royal Caribbean from even just 5-6 years ago is very different to the Royal Caribbean now. If you see ships like Utopia come online, the Icon class now with Icon of the Seas and Star of the Seas launching this year, they've got very different kind of just design language around it, just the color palette they're using on the ship, the kind of graphics, the motifs. They're very contemporary type of thing, and they're very kind of still Royal Caribbean, that great artwork that we all know and love from them and kind of big, bold statement pieces type of thing. They're still that, but they've got a new design language. So a lot of these ships have kind of the old, and we talked about it in the Independence episode, didn't we, about kind of that old Royal Caribbean design style mashing with the new style. And that's what they're doing. They're just kind of bringing these ships up to date so that they feel fresh and new, rather than kind of you get on board and you're kind of like, oh, this ship feels old. You don't quite get that as much when you go on a ship when it's been amplified.
No, definitely not. And I mean, some of the stuff they're adding, it's just, and we were talking about this before we come on air, they're obviously recognizing what doesn't work or what did work and was like, wow, and everybody was blown away by it, such as the Bionic Bar.
Yeah.
And they're recognizing that doesn't work anymore. And like you rightly said, it's all about atmosphere, and they're putting stuff in like the Pesky Parrot because you can just see the impact Playmakers has had. And I mean, not everybody's going to love it, and you know that I'm just Playmakers obsessed.
Yeah.
But the impact that had and the atmosphere it creates, and the Pesky Parrot's the same. It's that when you've got that sort of atmosphere, you're never going to go and sit and let a bionic barman serve you, because the beauty of Royal is the staff.
Yeah.
They're one of their strongest features. So play to it.
This is the thing in there. I think Cruise went through this period where it was about the gimmick, and I think there's a lot of
Mm,
cruise lines that did go for gimmicks. So it was obviously like, and I'm not name shaming NCL, they're a great cruise line, but it was about putting the go karts on. It was about putting on the largest slides and the largest this, that, and the other, and that's still a thing. I'm not saying that that's not a thing, but if you look at kind of Royals design now, particularly the Icon class, they're still doing the gimmicks, but the gimmicks are like bit more enriched concepts. The Aquadome, for example, on Icon class, you've got that giant aqua theater inside, but it's also part of a larger space that has multiple kind
mm,
of restaurants and bars and dining and things like that. So you're still getting that gimmick, but it's more of a fleshed out concept rather than like the Bionic Bar, as you say. It's really cool and impressive, but it's not a space. It's not enriching your experience.
mm.
It's something cool to do for a little bit, and then you're like, cool, I'll go to a normal barman now where I can sit down and have a chat type of thing. And I feel like that's the direction they're moving into now. It's about kind of enriching spaces. And if you look at all the things they add in, they're very much in that kind of light. They're adding on more spaces and venues to kind of give you more options when you are sailing on board. So do you want to run through kind of ship by ship, maybe? We talk about which ships are getting updates next year and what's been announced so far. Obviously, with Royal, they like to keep things up their sleeve, so they could be more than this, but these are the
Yep.
big changes that they want to draw attention to. So which ship do you want to start with, Sarah?
Of Harmony, obviously. Because I'm actually in mourning that I nearly booked this and I didn't. So they're going to update the poll. So obviously they're doing that on all of the new ships. We've got the Caribbean inspired poll, so the
Boom.
lime and coconut,
Yep.
and it just works. I mean, when we
Yeah.
went on uh, Allure, and as I say, have I been on a ship without it? Maybe Mariner, because Mariner was upgraded before COVID, I think, or just after. But it's bright, it's fresh, so that is a really big amplification because it just makes everything look more exciting. Playmakers, so they're putting the playmakers in. Eloco Fresh. We didn't eat in Eloco Fresh last time, but it's hammered. It's all the time. Oh, do you know why? This one didn't do gluten-free wraps.
Is the gluten-free situation. It did say that you on Wonder. Wonder didn't do gluten-free either, but then you said you went on, was it Odyssey? And Odyssey did do
Odyssey did.
gluten-free.
Odyssey did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did go in and have some meat and salad one day. But yeah, but I mean, it's always packed. So you can see why that's so popular. The Samba Grill. They're going to add the Samba Grill.
Yep.
They're going to add an ultimate family suite. People must be booking them. I can't
Yeah.
believe. I mean, how much are
Well,
they?
I'm surprised that this didn't have the Ultimate Family Suite because it's quite an iconic part of the Oasis class, to be honest. But I don't know the history of that suite. I've always known it to exist on the ships when they've launched them. So those suites are really popular. Feel like they're more popular with Americans than Brits. And like this is a bit of a generalization trend. I find that Americans tend to book suites more than Brits, but I feel like we have this debate in the travel industry about the booking cycle of kind of Americans versus Brits. Americans love to book as far out as possible in general. This is generalization, broad strokes. If you personally book last minute, this isn't aimed to you and saying you're wrong, just broad strokes. Americans tend to book early out, which means the suites are gone first. Brits, by the time they realize they want to book a suite, it's too late and the suites are gone or they've
Yeah.
gone up in price type of thing. That's a
Yeah.
cultural observation type of thing. So they're really popular with Americans, obviously getting big groups type of thing. And then if they're left available, you find a lot of people are doing Royal up to bid up into a family suite. Have you ever been in the Ultimate Family Suite on board?
I've seen pictures. I mean, it's bonkers.
It's so amazing. I managed to get into the one on Wonder of the Seas as part of the preview I went on, and it is cool. I like to have musical stairs because obviously it's over 2 stories, so you kind of got musical stairs to
It's
go up
like,
into the one bedroom. You've got the slide to come down as well, type of thing. There's lots of little cubbies to kind of sit in. One of the rooms there's a cinema room. Like it is incredible. And then equally as well, then the kind of suite next to it on Wonder was the ultimate loft suite, which is a bit more a little less family friendly. So it's still very grand, very opulent. It's got a
mm.
piano in it, that type of thing. But it's obviously designed more for kind of more mature, I guess, adult only couples or groups of friends going together because you're not going to have a slide in it. But equally as impressive to walk in and have just this 2-story suite with amazing wraparound pool and hot tub and all that type of stuff. And you get your Royal Genie as well when you're booking into this level as well.
Do you know, when we were on Allure, well, me and Chris were laughing our head off. So we went to the Aqua Theatre, which my philosophy of why they've moved the Aqua Dome is because if it's rocky, they can't do it because
Yes.
it's at the
Yeah,
end
yeah.
of a ship and because of the weather. So I suppose when it's inside, it's covered
Yep.
and it's in the middle of a ship. So if it's rocky, it's not as bad, is it?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah,
my
definitely.
philosophy. It probably like everybody's philosophy as well because it's obviously why they've done it. But yeah, so we were watching the Aqua show, or was it? It might have been Oasis because I was sat with Donna, and somebody came with their genie, and the genie brought them. They'd reserved them seats right at the front.
Yeah.
Have you done the Aqua show?
Yes, I have. Yeah, on Wonder.
So that poor genie, I mean, the family obviously embraced, they're gonna get soaked. This poor genie's sat there, thought didn't sign up. It's like there's some things you haven't signed up for, and I think that was one of them. Honest to God, this poor genie sat there, and she was soaked. It was
Oh, bless.
unbelievable. So yeah, you get the genie, don't you? Which is
Yeah.
I'd like to try it just once.
Do you get me? Like, what's the most obscure thing you can get your genie to do for you, type of thing? Because I've heard they do a lot of things for people who are on board.
I'd be like, "Oh, have a day off. Don't worry, because I'm soft. I'd be like, go have an get off in
I'd be the
port."
same.
That's what I'd like you to do.
Yeah, don't
Go
worry
and
about
do some
unpacking.
shopping.
I'll unpack myself. Don't worry about it. Like, pay for that service and never actually take advantage of it. 'Cause you're too British to
Yeah.
get people to
Or
do
can you
stuff
go
for
to
you.
Zara for me and just get me a white t-shirt and spend 2 hours, 3 hours doing it, and then they're off. They've got a day off. But yeah, so I mean that's all. But what I'm looking at here is I can't see on this. So one of the ships is getting the pesky parrot.
No,
Harmony
this
isn't.
has the graphic I've got. Harmony says Pesky Parrot's
Oh,
coming as well.
is it got it coming? All right, because I was
Yeah.
thinking, oh, I wonder what's going to be there instead then. Pesky parrot's amazing.
This seems to be happening across the fleet. Like, they seem to be replacing the Bionic Bars on the majority of ships bit by bit with the Pesky Parrot. 'Cause I know Utopia launched with Pesky Parrot rather than a Bionic Bar. So it seems to be a common now across the fleet. They're
Yeah.
slowly replacing Bionic Bars with Pesky Parrot or a similar style venue. So everything I've seen of it, it feels like it's going to be heaven to me. Like, if anyone's a big fan of Walt Disney World, say Trader Sam's is one of my favorite bars on the planet. Like, I love tiki bar culture. So this appeals to me so much.
They've got the bamboo room on Mariner, and I loved that. I actually prefer the decor of the bamboo room than the pesky parrot, but it's all very similar. There's more bamboo, weirdly, in the pesky parrot than the bamboo room. I just love that whole concept, and the cocktails are better in the pesky parrot, definitely. But yeah, and I mean, when we were on Oasis of the Seas in October, the Bionic Bar was never busy, where pesky
Really?
parrot is, because it's a space.
Yeah.
It's just it's making up space, isn't it, for people to congregate and enjoy, and that you're taking it away from another bar. So again, that's another thing Royal do well, and obviously have thought
Yeah.
that through.
I think it is just adding a new drinks venue that I think is probably a little bit more family friendly as well, because they got the talking parrots and all that type of stuff as well. Probably kids probably love that as well. So
Mm.
it's another space for kind of families to gather in and have a drink type of thing. And as you say, the Bionic Bar is impressive. It is cool once you see it, but by about day 2 or 3, you're a bit like, oh yeah, okay, cool. What's next? Where else? What else is there?
Yeah, and I mean, it's doing what everybody in Europe calls the traditional, because it's such a big ship. So it's doing the Barcelona, probably stopping at Rome loop. But for our American friends, we will do an episode on some of the stuff that I did on my last cruise, because, and we've talked about this before. You can go to Naples 15 times and do something different every time, and I think some of those ports are wrote off as being quite dull, and actually they're not. They're the best ports. There's so much to do. Then from there, it's going to the Caribbean and doing 5 and 7 night Caribbean
From which
cruises.
port?
Port Canaveral.
Nice. Okay, I should know this, but I haven't got it in front of me to check. So I'm just trusting you to have the facts and figures. You've come prepared. I've come with opinions.
So you're stopping actually at Do you know that's the one place I've never stopped is Falmouth, Jamaica.
Jamaica. We did on our honeymoon actually. Stopped off in Falmouth, Jamaica, and this is it's not a nice story because as a gay couple, and my grandfather's from Jamaica, but as a gay couple, we didn't feel like we should have
Oh.
left and explored Jamaica, because obviously it's not particularly safe. It's not illegal to be gay in Jamaica, but it's also not protected either. So if we were to have anything happen to us, we'd have no legal backup basically. So we just chose to stay in the port area. And what they've done is they've built a really lovely, actually, kind of town square. It's really big, actually. There's loads of different bars and restaurants there for you to kind of go hang out in. There's I want to say, Margaritaville or something like a Margaritaville. There's 2 of them, that style of like resorty type pool bar in the area type of thing. So you can go there and it's completely contained for just cruise guests.
Is it near Dunn's River? Because I'm sure when we went
Yes.
to Dunn's River, you could, because we have been to Jamaica, but you could see the cruise ships.
Yeah. They built a
Right.
purpose-built port. It was, from my memory, something to do with Disney put a lot of money behind this because they wanted to kind of visit Jamaica and use her as a bit of an excursion. So there is the port area that's only for cruise ships, and like I said, there's loads of restaurants and bars. So we spent a lot of time there, just having a walk around and shopping type of thing, and it's a bit of a safe haven. As we were walking out to leave, families and couples were coming back in and they were just saying just don't bother, it's not very nice, it's very aggressive, it's very much kind of that Caribbean port experience once you leave that little safe bubble. You've got people outside trying to just get you to do things, go places you don't really want to be going type of thing. So You can do a lot of really great excursions. You can obviously go up to local beach clubs nearby and all that type
Mm.
of stuff and still stay within that safe tourism bubble. But it is when I went, and we're talking like, oh, I hate to admit how long ago this was, but it's our honeymoon, which was almost 10 years ago now. It definitely was a little bit sketchy on the outside of it, type of thing. Falmouth
Yeah.
itself, the Downton area, is a little bit sketchy by my perspective. But other people said they had a lovely time and they found really nice places to dine. But you can also just stay in the port area. It's surprisingly big. Do a bit of shopping. You can find local art and local culture, but it is very curated, basically. But yeah, Duns River Fall is, I would say, like 20 minutes. You could probably get a taxi to Duns River if you wanted to, or obviously do a cruise excursion there.
Well, we stayed in Jamaica, and our friend is from Trelawney in Jamaica. So he said, I mean, but bear in mind, Jack was 2, so he's 25 this year. Um, and he said, just go into the town, just go. They'll tell you to go to certain places, just go into the markets, and told us
Yeah.
where to go, and it was fine. But then that was all quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
But because they love kids, the Jamaicans, and they made us really welcome. But as I say, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, this is very much they see a big ship coming in and they see cash, unfortunately, and it's a
Like
common
Mexico,
problem. Yeah, do you get what I mean? And
I
so
hated
they know
Mexico.
this about this port, which is why they created this Falmouth port area. So if you wanted to, you could still go. There's like nice pool bars there and things like that, but it's not the harassing local type of things. And it's awful to say. I hate sins. I hate slating any one port, and I think there's an extra layer of it being as a gay couple go in there type of thing. But I know
Yeah.
other gay couples who have gone and had lovely times. And if you go and do excursions as well, you'll have no issues whatsoever. I've not heard anything negative about, gay couples or queer couples going and doing Duns River Falls or going to a beach club and staying and having an issue. I've never heard a single thing. It's just the chance you have if you go explore by yourself, basically. You just need to be aware of that. But I think that's any Caribbean port. You need to just be
Mm.
aware of where you're going.
Dominican Republic are some way near getting it right, because they obviously they're very present on the streets. There's lots of police. They have lots of what they call, well, I suppose residents that are now guides, and they're paid to. And so there's eyes everywhere. So you do get people saying, "Do you want to do this?" And I can't
Yeah.
bear that. It just
Yeah.
stresses
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
out. But I felt safe walking around Dominican Republic.
Yeah,
And
we never got that far to find out type of thing. So we're just
yeah,
purely going by our prejudice of what we read online and what we were told as we were going to leave. So it could have been fine, but just everything I've heard and read, the immediate area, not Jamaica as a whole, but just they're all waiting outside the port to kind of get you, basically.
but it's also stopping at St Thomas, Perfect Day, and and Royal Beach Club, Paradise Island. So
Ooh, the new Nassau one, isn't it? Is that the Nassau
that's the
one?
new Nassau one, yeah.
We should do an
Uh,
episode on Perfect Day, Coco K. I know you've not been, but it's a chance for me to tell you how amazing it was and
yeah.
wind you up that you've never been.
You know, though, I don't think it's my vibe, because Donna
You'd be
loved it.
shocked. Yeah, I think you'd be
Really?
shocked. There's so much to do on Perfect Day. Like I was when they announced like the 3-4 night sailings going to nowhere but Nassau and Perfect Day, I was a bit like, really? And then I went to Perfect Day and I was like, I get it. And I would do a back to back to Perfect Day, like without a problem. There's so much. There's incredible beaches, incredible bars, amazing like pools. It is the perfect day. Honestly, it's named aptly.
We need to get Donna on. She's another one that's converted. Yeah, but they're saying that. Look at me about big ships. Then I went on Oasis of the Seas.
Yeah, yeah.
So who am I to judge and give an opinion? So yeah, so that is Harmony of the Seas. Then we've got
Hmm.
Ovation of the Seas. So she is going to be sailing back in Alaska, but was Ovation the first one of the Quantum, which was the
No,
Quantum, wasn't it?
Quantum's the
Obviously.
first Quantum. Yeah, I know. I do it all the time.
Oh,
Like, which one was the first one? Oh yeah, Quantum.
yeah, obviously. So was that the second? It must be, because they're renovating it.
I come with opinions, not facts, Sarah. Let me do Ovation of the Seas.
Because
Let's
then
have
you
a
had
look.
Spectrum, and then Odyssey was the latest.
She's the third of her class. So Ovation was the third.
What was the second?
Anthem was the second, actually. So it was Quantum, followed by Anthem, then Ovation, and then obviously you got the Quantum Ultra class, which is Spectrum, and then Odyssey.
And then Odyssey. I did like Odyssey. I mean, I'm going on it again next
Mm,
year. Yeah, and I did
next year, yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
I just it's the outside space for me is not as good as the other ships.
This is why, though, she's so perfect for Alaska, though. Like, I can't think of a better Royal Caribbean ship for exploring Alaska. And there are theories amongst fans about the fact the ship was designed for those types of climates, like the Norwegian fjords or Alaska, where you've got those perfect observation platforms. And we're not talking about just the North Star. Obviously, that's incredible to have that. And imagine doing that in Alaska. Like, that would be incredible to be seeing glaciers.
Yeah.
worth the money type of thing. But also the fact that she's got the solarium, so you've got that indoor space as well that's in the
Mm.
pool. So if you're in those colder climate sailing type of thing, to have still some sort of space, you could still get that pool experience. And then just to have kind of that wraparound panoramic viewing space as well.
Mm.
Playmakers to be able to kind of go into that sportsplex and have that viewing platform out as well. She's the perfect kind of bad/mixed weather ship. So in Alaska, I could totally see her being a great ship to sail.
I must admit, I'm looking forward to doing the
North Star.
no, the other one. I fly again because I
Oh
was
yeah,
quite good at that. I was
were
quite
you?
good. So I'm gonna have another go at that. But yeah, there's lots of other shit that I love, and I love the inside of the ship. I think it's stylish. There's so much I love about it. I just wish it had a bit more outside space that you could
Totally.
go and get away from the pools. But so what are they putting on there? So they're putting on a revamped pool deck, casitas, and a new whirlpool. Oh. Giovanni's Italian kitchen. So it looks like they're making her similar to.
Do you think Jamie's is going then, or they're replacing it with Giovanni's? Do you think it's kind of the start? I don't know if Ovation even has Jamie's, but I'm assuming is that what's happening? They're kind of getting rid of the Jamie's and moving them to Giovanni's instead.
Maybe was because was Jamie's just an Oasis thing? Well, there's got to be something in that space, hasn't there, where Giovanni's was?
Yeah, so Ovation does have Jamie's at the moment, so I'm wondering if that's what's happening. They're just changing out the branding, so obviously it's losing the Jamie's name and going to Giovanni's.
Which is I've not been in a Jamie's. I've only been in Giovanni's. The ships I've been on. They're putting a teppanyaki in, which I love the
Which is cool.
teppanyaki.
Yeah.
Sound cellar.
Yeah. Do you know much more about that? Is there anything more in the press release about what that is?
Oh, celebrations dancing the brand new. Oh, it's a disco.
A new nighttime venue.
Yes. Yeah. So sound cellar, dancing in the brand new sound cellar. More things in the casino, and I'm sure I saw Pesky Parrot somewhere.
Yep.
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
Pesky
yeah.
Parrot's coming as well, which is cool because again, this ship would have had Bionic Bar as well. So again, I'm guessing that's going to be not a particularly big space though on the Quantum class, is it? The Bionic Bar. It's a bit more of a corridor from my memory of Anthem. Anyway, it's kind of in the upper promenade, isn't it? A bit of a.
You imagine though, there must be something behind that because it's not like it's a street, is it? That the road widens behind it. It's a ship, so there's probably storage behind it.
Maybe.
So obviously they've done it on Allure, and when you compare Allure to Oasis, you can they've gone back further to make it into the bar, so they're probably taken away a bit of an area, haven't they? But it just makes sense because it gives people more places to go, which frees up space. And I mean, I love that whole promenade on the Quantum class ships. It's really stylish.
I can imagine it's quite cool at nighttime type of thing to have all that space, and they feel like more like spaces. It's not a typical promenade, is it? Like kind of the Freedom class, or
No.
the Oasis class, which is quite big. It's more like not a maze. Maze makes it sound like it's messy, but it's like you walk through different spaces. It feels like more of a. It's not
Yeah.
quite a corridor or a promenade of venues, is it? It's like a strip. That's the word I'm looking for. It's more like a
Yeah,
strip of
you've got
venues.
like your promenade bit, then you go around the corner and you've got the bit with the shops, which we missed all the shops because we only went the top to, what's my bar that I love with a singer?
Schooners.
Schooner. Oh, I got called I got called out on TikTok the other day for calling it Schooners. It's Schooner. Got
That's a
told
British
off.
thing, though. We do that, don't we? We like schooners. We
They said,
S's something.
I bet you call windjammers. I was like, yep, I do.
Yeah.
And then you've got the end bit going to 2070, which is round where not Jamie's,
Yeah,
Giovanna's
because that's
is.
where
So,
on Anthem anyway. That's where Vintage is, isn't it? You go down that corridor and you got I forgot what it is. There's a couple of
oh yeah,
restaurants, Vintages corridor that I think is next
yeah,
cruise. Isn't that roughly round about there? And then back
yep.
into 270 then.
Yeah, I can see where you're thinking corridor, but it does get a lot wider, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's quite open up.
Yeah.
It's all
Well,
one
I
long
say
line, so
corridor.
it's
But that's exciting because then that's going back to Alaska.
which is cool. And like I say, I think these are what we're noticing the trend with these are kind of modernizing some of the older ships. So a lot of these venues are venues that have been added recently in the kind of newer ships. So like they've been added either to like Wonder or Utopia or more those class, not so much kind of the Icon class, but they're bringing in kind of modern features that have been on other ships successfully, bringing them onto slightly older ships as well. So it'll be cool to kind of have, as we've mentioned, Pesky Parrot on board. Starbucks is a common trend as well. So I think on all three of these ships, Starbucks is coming to them all again, which I know there's a lot of debate about. It's annoying that you've got to pay. It's not included in your drinks package and all that type of stuff. But for some people who love a Starbucks drink, a Starbucks branded, proper, barista style drink, it's quite cool that you have that choice at least anyway to kind of do that on board. And I think all three are getting, we'll check with the last ship now, but all three are getting new Starbucks dedicated venues as well. So it's just adding things you may love from other newer ships to some of the slightly
Mm,
older. And these aren't old ships. None of them. I think Liberty's probably the
no.
oldest on the list. They're all within the last 10 or so years, roughly, aren't they?
Well, what is Liberty? I think no, Liberty's older because it's over
Liberty's
10 years
older,
since.
but I mean, the other
Yeah,
ships,
let's have a look.
12, 15 at most, surely.
Yeah, because I was blogging when what ship would that have been? That was the first. Oh no, that was the first one. Yeah, so I was blogging when Quantum of the Seas came out. So that was
Okay.
10 years ago. So they've all come out since then.
Well,
Liberty of the
Ovation, I've
Seas.
just pulled it up on Wikipedia now. So she was ordered September 2013 and she launched in 2016. So yeah, she's 10 years old now. So this will be actually her first major dry dock. That would make sense. Then next year would be her first major one. And that's probably why they've done it.
Liberty was 2007. So she's 18 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I met Fiona the hippo on not Fiona, Gloria the hippo. That's
Gloria the
where I
Hippo.
met Gloria on Liberty. That was our second ship would ever been, and that was really what cemented my love for Royal, that ship. So it's special to me.
Well, I'm going to guess, right? And this goes back into what we talked about at the beginning of the episode about the whole COVID impact. I would hazard a guess that her age, then, if that's when she was launched, she was probably due for her 10-year big one,
Mm.
her big amplification. And that probably was delayed down to COVID. And this is probably the first chance they've had to do it now in the next round type of thing of the next dry dock. So that's probably why it's been delayed. I
Yeah.
reckon she was probably going to get some of these amplifications around what the COVID period. I would just hazard a guess looking at the time cycle of these things. And this is the first chance they've had to do it since she's that COVID period.
It's weird, really, because they did Indie, didn't they? Before they did a lot of them,
Mm.
and Oasis. They did Independence because Donna went on for a weekend, I think, when they did it, and then they did Oasis. I don't know, but then I suppose the world's been screwed with, so you can't really. You
Totally.
can't
Yeah,
work
no,
out a rhyme
yeah.
and reason. So Liberty, they are added. So Liberty is very much like Independence. I think she was the one before Independence, or that was it. Liberty or was it Freedom?
Freedom was in 2006, followed by Liberty in 2007, and then Independence in 2008.
Right. So yeah, she's that same style of ship, very slightly smaller, but just an amazing ship. I loved it. So what are they putting on? An escape room. Again, the pool decks are doing all that. Teppanyaki, but same again, a Loco Fresh, Starbucks. And she is going to be going out to Southampton doing the Norwegian fjords and then going over to Galveston.
Ah, Galveston she's going to. Okay. So, yeah, this is a well-loved sister, anyway, to a well-loved ship of the UK. Obviously, we've got Independence sailing this year. She's come back to the UK for the first time after a long time, and she's been well-received. She's selling incredibly well, pretty much close to sold out now. And this is her sister ship coming back next year as well with these new amplifications as well. So, she's going to be fresh and new as well for kind of coming over to the UK. So that's going to be really exciting for people to kind of get on board. Is she doing the amplification before or after a UK season? Do you know? Does it say?
They normally do it before, don't they? Let's have a look. Well, it says sailing from Southampton 2026. So
Assuming it would be done before. In fact, let me see if I can log into the booking system
I
and
know
see if there's a
Harmony
gap.
is because I noticed the gap when I was looking at Harmony. So I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
It was
That's
was
the new way
fairly
we
obvious.
check it. Is to look for the gap
Yeah.
in sales, basically. So I'm assuming there's going to be a bit of a gap. And if a transatlantic is over to Barcelona or somewhere like that, that's usually a. So we're looking at Liberty, isn't it? Liberty. Yeah, there you go. So a transatlantic leaves America from. Let me check where this is now. This is going to be leaving Fort Lauderdale on the 3rd of April, 2026. She then gets into the UK. Then not the UK. Yeah, she gets into the UK 17 days later. And then her first sailing after that then is again from Southampton on the 29th of May. So she's got a big gap basically from around about the, 20th of April, I would say, until the 29th of May. So there's quite a big gap with no sailings to get her to do a bit of a, wherever she's going to. I'm guessing she's going to be down somewhere in the Med to do it and then get back basically. So that's quite a big gap. A lot of time to put some love into her.
Yeah. That's it's a lot of investment, isn't it? When you got it all in front of you on paper, free ships and all that. When you look at, I mean, Allure was 100 million. That's a lot of money. I mean, I suppose there's no slides going on anywhere, is there?
Yeah, I say Allure had like a massive, like complete revamp of pretty much all the outdoor spaces and a lot of the indoor spaces. I don't think there's as many on these like venue changes, but there's a lot. This is more than they would usually do on a typical 2-week dry dock. 1 or 2 venues may change. This is a lot of venues getting changed at once.
Yeah, what I I don't get with Allure, and it doesn't mention it here, is why they don't upgrade the cabins. I mean, I suppose the cost of that is phenomenal,
Mm,
but
yeah.
I mean, there was nothing wrong with our cabin in Allure. I mean, my biggest bugbear was the plugs.
I was
The
gonna say
plug
plugs and power
situation.
sockets is the one a lot of people complain about because 10 years ago we didn't need as many USB devices as we do now, and now everything's USB, and you want USB more than you want plugs, don't you? And a lot of ships just old ships didn't get built; they had two, if that.
That would be really easy to change that though, wouldn't they? Because 'Cause they've only had to change the bedside lights. That
Yeah,
would be a
I
really easy
I think that is the knock-on effect though of even though it's just changing the sockets over, it's the circuit breaker for the whole deck, if you
Yeah,
get what I mean.
yeah,
So it's
yeah, of course.
when you add that by 50, 60, 80, 100 cabins, becomes a big
Yeah,
draw
it's
on
not
that deck.
doable.
I'm sure it's fixable, but it's a big investment. It's rewiring and all that type of stuff. So yeah, I think they save them for kind of big amplifications, but cabins don't get as refreshed as often as public venues do. It's normally like a soft goods, or they may like put new
Mm.
dressers or cabinets in, but it's usually like damaged rooms that are taken out of inventory. If they're that badly damaged, they
Yeah.
will usually get, and it'll be like a random. They may do a deck or so. There's no
Mm.
logic to how they do it. It's just down to how bad the ship is and how bad the condition is.
I mean, to be fair, there was nothing wrong with that room, but that's what I'm looking forward to about
Mm.
Odyssey, that the cabins are all new and fresh, and I really like the cabins on Odyssey. The one thing that I did notice about this is Harmony's going back to America early, which is mega for like for because transatlantics are historically cheaper than a normal sailing. And I don't know what the price is like now, but when I noticed it a couple of months ago, that was a mega deal doing the transatlantic
You
across to the
did, yeah. You
Caribbean.
said to me about it, didn't you? Let's have a little
Yeah,
look,
it
shall we?
was
Like,
mega.
obviously, this is going to be UK prices, so Americans, I apologize in advance. But let's just see now. So she's doing it in July, and you're right. I didn't cotton onto this, and it makes perfect sense because obviously the exciting thing is Legend of the Seas is launching from the
Mm.
UK, from Europe, sorry, next year, and I didn't cotton onto this. What switching out ships basically? So yeah, Harmony's going back to the USA, and obviously we're getting Legend for 4 months, which I'm currently booked on, and I'm so excited. But yeah, she is going back over in July, and you were looking, yeah, if you think about value for money. So again, these are just guide prices. So for a balcony, neighborhood balcony, the week before, 7 night sailing is starting at £2,672 for two, whereas the transatlantic in a balcony in the same category is £2,378. And
For
that's,
2
a
weeks.
13 night versus a 7 night. Now, I know there's logistics if you've got to get a transatlantic flight and all that type of stuff. Either way, Americans over and Brits back. But still, that's great value for that duration of time on board the ship.
I know, for a family to be able to do a Caribbean cruise and pay flights just one way, and there's so many reasons why if my kids were younger, I'd be all over that. And I know that you're borderlining and you've got hurricane season, so there's that risk, but you're spending more time in the middle of the Atlantic, so it's I think for me, that's a really good one.
Yeah, it's great value. So that's Barcelona to Port Canaveral to Orlando. So,
Mm.
going to Palma de Mallorca, Cartagena in Spain, Malaga in Spain, Seville in Spain. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days at sea. And then finish in Orlando. So you could, if you wanted to, if you've got all the time in the world, you could have a week in Disney World or Epic Universe if you wanted to as well.
Exactly. What a trip. I'd be all over that if my
Yeah.
kids were little.
And it's rare to do that with Royal in summer, as you pointed out.
Mm.
Normally that's September, October time. So to be able to do that, that is pretty much the start of the school summer holidays, actually. So that's perfect for families who want a longer break because you could take the kids out of school the 26th of July to join that and then end in Orlando the beginning of summer holidays as well. So actually, that's a great one for families.
Yeah, no, I did look at that, but then I thought, no, because it's some holidays, and not because I don't want to be around families. 'Cause you know I do, and I love being around families. But I think just the whole flight logistics of I avoid flying in holidays if I can. But yeah, it's just a brilliant deal.
I think it's just really exciting though, and I love it when brands are kind of doing this. I always get quite excited with the dry dock, even if they're just small and there's only one or two venues. It's quite nice to just see kind of the direction the brands go. And I think, the amplification program is a good way to see kind of where Royal are taking their product in the future type of thing. And you can see this on the Icon class and to see some of that thinking anyway about kind of bringing on more venues and more destinations and more
Mm.
spaces is kind of that just evolution of the Royal brand and how they're creating these really cool spaces for the whole family to enjoy, new spaces for
Mm.
families, for adults, I think, because it was like on Harmony, she's getting a new solarium as well, I believe. So the solarium's getting a good look at the adult only space. So, that's going to get a fresh update because they've had all new pools put onto Oasis this year. Allure, sorry, had all new pool.
Mm,
hot tubs and everything put into their solarium. So again, it could possibly be that level where it was a massive update to the solarium on board. So these can be game changing additions, and it's just a case of a lick of paint. Not a lick of paint; it's more than a lick of paint. Sorry,
yeah.
to old fan favorites.
And if they put that, because Allure, they put an outside area outside the solarium, which Oasis hasn't got, and it was incredible. Like, I'd have spent a lot of time there had I not been so busy, but we just didn't
Yeah.
stop. So, but yeah, it was gorgeous out there. So that's just again another sunbathing space for adults. That there was lots of areas that you were outside or inside. You had the choice.
Yeah, that's the great thing about the Oasis class, the abundance of outdoor space type of thing. Whether you are somebody who likes to sit in the shade or sit in the sun, or sit in pools, even like I loved on Wonder, there was the one pool I sat in by Lime and Coconut where you can sit in the bench, the seats in the water. So that was because I love that type of thing. I love sitting in the water, cooling down, but still being in the sun type of thing, and I could do that, and it was not a problem. I loved having that choice of space on board.
Yeah, I just can't get me on the next ship quick.
Well, guys, I hope that's given you a bit of an overview of kind of what's coming. There's obviously, I'm sure, have you got a blog actually about this, Sarah, on your website? No, I haven't put one out yet either. I keep thinking to, but I haven't got around to it. But there are lots of updates coming, and obviously, Royal love to drip feed as well. So I'm sure as time goes on, we'll start seeing kind of maybe some artwork of what these new spaces could look like. And there's always, on all three of these graphics they've shared, there's always a and more. So I'm sure they may have some more secrets up their sleeves as well and some more details to share as well. So definitely keep a listen out. Check Sarah's website and social media, same as mine as well. I'm sure if there are any extras updates that come out, I'm sure we'll be sharing them as well. So where can the guys find you, Sarah, online if they want to hunt down any of your content, guides, or information?
You can find us on cruisingwithkids.co.uk, I think, or just put Cruising with Kids, we come up. You can find us on TikTok. We're very active over there, chatting about everything cruise, and you can find us on YouTube. And I think we're Sarah and Donna and Cruising with Kids, we come up.
Yeah, fab. And then as for myself, if you are interested in sailing with Royal Caribbean, I just want to stress as well and this is a sales pitch, so apologies in advance, but we are a tour operator with Royal Caribbean, so we have access to tour operator rates, so we can be very competitive with our Royal Caribbean rates and definitely give you, really fantastic service. We know the ships incredibly well. We've got a great relationship with Royal Caribbean, so sales pitch over. If you are interested in sailing with Royal Caribbean and would like help in hand in doing that, then definitely give us a try. You can find me online everywhere under magical-traveler.com, or you can find me on social media under magical TRVLR. Other than that, guys, I hope you found this episode interesting, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.
Bye.